There we go. Before we begin, for those joining us on the live stream, we have closed captioning, which is at the bottom of the screen. I'm Daniel Park, Deputy for Constituent Engagement, and
Hi, I'm Natalia Romo. I'm Supervisor Mitchell's Senior Justice Deputy. Welcome to welcome to our January Racial Justice Learning Exchange on disability justice, stories, and performances of lived experience.
to begin, I'll start with our land acknowledgement, which is a formal statement that respects and recognizes Native Americans as the original stewards of the land in which the county and the second district stands on today. The County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We are dedicated to growing and sustaining relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments, including, in no particular order, the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, Gabrielino Tongva Indians of California Tribal Council, Gabrielino Tongva San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation, Yuhaviatam of San Manuel Nation, San Fernando Band of Mission Indians, Coastal Band of Chumash Nation, Gabrielino Tongva Nation, Gabrielino Tongva Tribe. To learn more about the First Peoples of Los Angeles County, please visit the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission website at linaic.lacounty.gov.
Now we'll read our labor acknowledgement. We recognize and acknowledge the labor upon which our country, state, and institution are built. We remember that our country was built on labor of enslaved people who were kidnapped and brought to the U.S. from the African continent, and recognize the continued contribution of their survivors. We also acknowledge all immigrants in indigenous labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples who contributed to the building of the country and continue to serve with our labor force. We recognize that our country is continuously defined, supported, and built upon by oppressed communities and peoples. We acknowledge labor inequities and the shared responsibility for combating oppressive systems in our daily work. So, it is so wonderful to see so many faces, so many familiar faces too, all the yelling in the back, for people who've been with our community for such a long time. And we are equally excited to welcome new people into the space. So if there's any new persons who have been joining us for the first time at our RJLE, could you please raise your hands just so we can see? Oh, nice. Wow. Thank you and welcome, and we are so happy to have you here with us today. Tonight's gathering is a part of the Second District Racial Justice Learning Exchange, RJLE. Founded in February 2022, RJLE is an initiative of the Office of Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell that brings together district residents, county, civic, and community leaders and celebrate our diversity, confront bias, and inspire meaningful steps to eliminate structural racism. I thought I was real loud. At its core, RJLE is about creating space to listen, space to learn, and to reflect honestly on how systems impact our communities and how we can disrupt this cycle. Whether this is your first RJLE or one of many, your presence and participation make this work possible.
So before we move forward, first, Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell. Our Chief of Staff, Ms. Frederica McGee. I also want to recognize our gracious host, the Venda Museum and its staff. We have our county department heads. I see a few. I don't want to name all of them just in case I forget someone, but we have our county department heads, our county commissioners, as well as I also want to recognize Bowen Dwan, who works for Jazz Hands from Autism, for providing the beautiful music that welcomed everyone into this space tonight. So I'll go over the program real quick. Tonight you'll experience stories and perspectives from a variety of speakers from the 2nd District. Following the presentations, we'll open the space for a Q&A session and then move to our closing. After our closing, everyone is welcome to stick around for our community booths and vendors that will reopen, and we invite you to stay and connect and continue engaging with the resources and organizations present here tonight. As you've noticed, as you've entered, you should have received little question cards with a pen. If you haven't, please raise your hand. Our staff can, that's a lot. If you can keep them up so our staff can give you a question card, a pen. And as you engage with the stories shared tonight, we invite you to reflect and jot down any questions or thoughts that come up for you. We will be collecting these at the end after the performances for our Q&A portion. In addition, if you feel inspired to also share your own story, please let one of our team members know. We have our Team Mitchell shirts on, and we're more than happy to ask you some questions and collect and reflect on what your story is as a resident of the 2nd District. At any point during the program, if you feel uncomfortable or need to step away, please know that you're welcome to do so. We have 2 wellness spaces available. The first one is a sensory station that's upstairs, which has been, shout out to the Wiley Center for Speech and Language Development on their partnership for providing our space. That's going to be right outside into the hallway. We have staff members that'll be able to direct you there through the elevators. Outside, you'll also see our therapy dogs, Rio and Hugo. They will remain available throughout the program, so if you just want to catch a breath, relax, they're always available. And for folks who want some fresh air, I know we're packed, there is also an overflow station that is outside with seating.
Thank you, Daniel. A few other housekeeping items. Please, please, please silence your cell phones. I heard somebody's notification go off, so I know all the phones aren't silent, but it is extremely, extremely important for this specific space that we don't cause stimulation that's not necessary. So please, I'll give you guys a second. Please take a look at your phone. Even if you say, hey, I always keep my phone on silent, please take a look, make sure it is silenced, make sure your notifications aren't going off, in respect for the performers that are coming here with us today. And thank you for taking the time to double check that. There are 2 exits available. 2 exits available for safety purposes. We have one which you guys have come through today, and then we have one back this way. So in case of an emergency, if you see somebody in a vest like this, we will be directing you on where to go and how to go. We just ask that you keep calm as much as possible. Restrooms are located outside in the hallway. Again, at any moment in time, if you need to use the restroom, please go down the hallway and someone from our team will be able to direct you on where that is. Again, Daniel shared with all of you, our team members are wearing Team Mitchell shirts. As you can see, I have one on, or they have a county logo on it. So please, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to them. And now I'm going to move forward to our community agreements. Our community agreements are things that when we come into these safe spaces, we are as a body committing to in this space. The first agreement is to be kind and courteous to each other. Patience and understanding are important to ensure each person is heard. This is an environment for learning. Respect differences. Everyone is at a different level of understanding, and that's okay. We have to respect each other and where we are in life, and try to monitor your tone or word choice as much as possible. Be gracious. There is no wrong question or dumb question. Confidentiality. To embark on this work, we have to trust each other. And a big part of trust is ensuring you are keeping this space safe. Be accountable and receptive. If you have offended or feel you may have offended someone, take a moment and acknowledge it and apologize. This one is probably one of the most important for this space. Save your applause until the end of the performance. I know that's not the natural thing to do, but it is extremely important because each of these artists have their own process. So we ask that you all refrain from cheering for an artist as they approach the stage. And please feel free to share your appreciation after their piece concludes. Is everybody committed to these agreements? All right, I see hands, I heard yes, so we're all committed to it.
All right, and now it is an honor to introduce our next guest who will lay the framework for this event and ground us in why the intersectionality of racial justice and disability matters. I'm sorry, okay. Paralympic medalist Jamal Hill is a social impact leader from Inglewood, California. His work advances disability inclusion and racial equity through aquatic access, public safety, and community-centered education. Jamal's leadership is grounded in the belief that access saves lives and that representation matters, especially in spaces where decisions about equity and justice are being made. Please join me in welcoming Jamal Hill.
Evening. You shy ones in the audience, I'll take it. Welcome, right? Racial justice learning exchange with a focus on disability justice. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here this night. Hello, supervisor over there, right? Shout out the boss. Number one, seriously, thank you so much, Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell, just for your leadership. I had the opportunity to meet you for the first time this year, having grown up in District 2, having been able to experience so much of your impact. So it's a bit surreal, you know. We'll have to do lunch off the record, you know, sometime. We're working together, right? So we got to really lean into the relationship, I feel. But I really just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge how important and how special tonight's like tonight are. Number one, on the highest level, just the fact that everyone in this room is a neighbor and the power of community. And then, of course, obviously, just our focus on disability justice tonight. So sincerely, thank you all for being here. Thank you for having me. Wonderful introduction, team. I'm just going to repeat what they said in case you didn't catch it. My name is Jamal Hill. I'm a Paralympic swimming medalist for Team USA, a disability advocate, and a founder of the Swim Uphill Foundation. The reality is, though, before all of those titles, I'm someone whose life has been shaped by something that people could not see. Los Angeles is my home. A city over, I was born in Cedars-Sinai. A block down, my mother worked in the Culver City Courthouse. A city this way stands the childhood home in Inglewood. Literally, Los Angeles is where I was planted, and also quite literally, water is what grew me. As a young boy, I fell in love with swimming, which was a bit ironic because my mother, she could, does anyone here know someone that can swim as long as they're moving, but then once they stop moving, they can't swim anymore? That was my mother. So So being her only son, as I came into the world, she wanted to make sure that I could swim, right? Just beat every stereotype, live above every stigma that they attempt to place on all of our communities. And it worked. I fell in love with swimming. It was my favorite thing to do. And at 10 years old, actually about 20 years ago, right around this time of year, uh, came a moment that changed my life. I went from running, jumping, diving, swimming so fast with all my friends to quite literally all at once being paralyzed. A hereditary neuropathy called Charcot-Marie-Tooth onset in my body spontaneously at 10 years old, and I was hospitalized at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. And after days of being bedridden, and glory be that my parents there with me, my condition went from this really inflamed state to a remissive state. And I went from this 10-year-old boy that could run, that could jump, that could do all these things, to a boy that now had only about 30% nerves from his elbows to his fingertips, and about 0% nerves from my knees to the soles of my feet. So even though you saw me walk on stage today, every step I take, it feels like I'm walking on my knees and I've got these flesh and blood stilts underneath me. I'll tell you, being black and living with a disability, in addition to having older parents, I grew up under the mindset, no excuses, right? You got to be exceptional. And so how do you be exceptional? How do you tell a truth that's invisible to others? That was something that I struggled with every day, right? Daily tasks that people just took for granted. When they look at me, there should be no reason why you can't do this, why you can't do that, Jamal. And in that experience, I learned something really valuable. What you see doesn't tell the full story. Everyone in this audience today, everyone in this auditorium is dealing with something physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and guess what? It's not written across your chest, all right? Think about that as we continue to experience tonight, because some disabilities are visible. Many, dare I say, most are not. You might see one thing, that doesn't mean you know what's going on. A turning point for me was as I found my way back to the water, still living in this proverbial disability closet, hiding so much of myself. And there was someone in my life that came in and said, hey, you know what? I see the way that you swim, Jamal, the way that you dive. I wouldn't call it a dive. You're not really jumping off the diving block here, right? It's okay to laugh. It's funny. It's more of a slip into the water. And that was the first time in 12 years, from 10 years old all the way to 22, that was the first time I ever talked about my disability openly. And really had the courage to embrace who I was and just say, hey, you know what? My name's Jamal Hill. It's not about there being nothing wrong with me. It's about me being happy with who I am. Accepting that was freedom, not limitation. And ultimately, it led me to Team USA, where I was able to compete in the Tokyo Paralympics, bring home a bronze medal. I know they told you not to clap, but it's okay. It's okay. Here goes another one. I had a chance in 2024 to represent Team USA once again at the Paris Paralympics. You all are killing it. And of course, we're all looking forward to the whole world coming right here to our home in LA 28, right? There we go. But the significance beyond athletics, visibility, representation, and possibility, and me owning who I was and telling my story, I gave so many people the opportunity and the freedom to own who they were and tell their story too. For me, being a black man with a disability means navigating intersecting systems, right? Who gets access? Who gets believed? Who gets supported? Both of these identities challenge stereotypes. Both of them actively challenge systemic barriers. Heck, in fact, when I said I was a swimmer, I could see you right here, like she got a look on her face. He's a swimmer? Yes, ma'am. That is another systemic barrier. In fact, it's so close to my heart that I founded the Swim Uphill Foundation. What we do is we eradicate global drowning through education. We have a goal of teaching 1 million people how to swim across the next 2 years. So go ahead, one more round of applause. As we progress through tonight's program, I ask one thing of you: be open-minded. not just with yourselves, not just with the person sitting next to you, not just whether it's disability or not. I want you to not assume, I want you to not dismiss, and above all, what I want you to do is to listen. Can you listen tonight? Okay, okay. Disability justice is about changing systems and attitudes. Please understand, we are not here to fix people because none of these people need fixing. What I'd like to do now is invite the audience to not just stay curious, not just stay present, but I want to help continue this reflection. And so I'm very, very honored to introduce a powerful 2-minute TED Talk by Michael Agen, who challenges us to think deeply about how we engage with disability, identity, and one another. Please join me in turning your attention to Michael Agen.
I remember driving late one night and seeing blaring lights behind me. It was the cops, and I was being pulled over. I was so nervous. I'm a black man, and I'm a deaf man, and the cop has no idea that I'm deaf. Oh, I had so much anxiety, I was paranoid. The cop came over and started talking to me, and I couldn't understand because the lights were so bright. I couldn't read his lips, and I was nervous. And I knew things had to change. I knew things had to change so that we can prevent confusion, because I knew that that change could also maybe even save lives. So Compton, I want you to be great. I challenge you to provide interpreting services for all Compton events. I challenge you to provide a community center to help parents have access to information for their children and children with disabilities. I challenge you to provide ASL classes so that the city can become more open and accessible. And finally, I challenge you to open your arms with love to accept all people who are different from you.
Wonderful. And now I'm proud to introduce to you this evening's MC, Michael Agen, a deaf and disability rights advocate whose work bridges access, identity, and racial justice. Michael is son of Ghanaian immigrants, born in Massachusetts and raised in Compton, California. He spent much of his early life navigating a world that didn't yet have language for his experience. It wasn't until college that he discovered American Sign Language and came to understand himself as deaf, a moment that shifted his sense of belonging and purpose. Since then, Michael has worked to break down barriers between deaf and hearing communities, including supporting deaf youth with autism and serving as governor, appointed member of the State Independent Living Council and one of Supervisor Mitchell's appointed disability commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Agen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Okay. So I was going to sign today, but I tore my wrist, so I'm going to speak with my voice. I'll take my time so it's clear as possible. Okay? So again, I want to, thank you. Okay. So again, I want to thank Jamal for the introduction. I'm happy we're all together here today. And before anything else, I want to express my deep gratitude to Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell for her leadership, for her commitment to racial justice, by centering disability justice at every level of her work. Your advocacy reminds us that the fight for equity must be expansive, intersectional, grounded in voices that are most impacted. Thank you for holding space for all of us today. I stand before you as someone whose story is shaped by differences and belonging, by the connection and community, and by the powerful intersection of race and disability. I was born deaf, the son of Ghanaian immigrants, and raised in Compton, California. For much of my early life, I felt invisible in my own community. I didn't know the word deaf until college. I didn't know there was a vibrant culture, history, and language, American Sign Language, or a community where I can fully be myself. That experience changed everything. When I learned ASL, I realized being deaf wasn't something that made me less. It made me a part of a community. It gave me identity and opened my eyes to how powerful our world is marginalized. People whose bodies and minds don't fit the so-called norm. It also reveals something deeper. That disability advocacy can be separated from the realities of race, history, and power. Growing up Black and deaf meant I lived a unique intersection where racism and ableism didn't just coexist, they compounded each other. I saw firsthand how people with disability of color are pushed to the margins in schools, in healthcare, and public spaces, even in movements for justice that sometimes overlook the deaf and disabled. We see this in the statistics about equity. We feel it in lived experience, and we witness it in moments of crisis where communication and access and safety are abandoned. My journey led to advocacy and accessibility, and over the last several years, I've dedicated my work to creating spaces where deaf and disabled youth, especially those who are Black, brown, and from underserved communities, can thrive. Through teaching ASL in Compton, working with deaf youth with autism, serving on council that advance independent living, and volunteering in leadership forum for young disabled leaders, I've seen that access isn't just a luxury, it is a right. But disability justice is more than access. Disability justice demands that we confront the ways in which systems are designed to exclude, not just accommodate. It demands that we break the ableism woven in education, policy, policing, public life. And it requires us to recognize that disability is not all the same. That the needs of a deaf, Black, neutral-driven child of color or a disabled immigrant are shaped by layers of systematic inequality that cannot be separated. A world that is not racist and welcoming for all is one where every person, regardless of race, ability, language, or culture, is seen, heard, and valued. A world where our schools teach multiple languages and respect deaf culture. A world where public safety systems see us as human beings, not threats. A world where employers understand that accommodation is not an exception, it is essential. A world where medical and social systems meet people where they are and not where they think people should be. In that world, no one had to erase a part of themselves to be accepted. No one had to change how they communicate to be understood. No one had to wait for permission to belong. Today, we recommit to racial justice and disability justice. I invite us all to embrace intersectionality, the understanding that our liberation is tied together. The liberation of the deaf community, the liberation of Black bodies and minds, the liberation of everyone pushed into the margins by ableism, racism, and exclusionary systems. Thank you again, Supervisor Mitchell, for your leadership, and thank you all for being part of this work. Because justice is not just an idea, it is a lived experience we all could build together. Thank you.
So I just want to welcome a quick warning before we bring up our next presenter. The video that's going to be shown might have some strobing lights, some sounds that might be disturbing to some folks. So if you have a sensitivity to light or sound, you might want to go in the overflow space or go to one of the sensitivity rooms. That's totally fine, and then come back for the rest of the performances. So I wanted to do that for you guys really quickly. I'm going to bring back Michael to welcome our next performer.
So I'm back again. Well, okay. So, our first performer, I'm honored to welcome Vanessa Hernandez Cruz, an independent Chicana disabled dance and artist and disability justice consultant. Vanessa work bridges dance, disability justice, and radical accessibility, centering around queer, trans, BC, POC, disabled artists, and communities. A current NEFA National Dance Project receptionist, her work remembers what it means for a marginalized body to lead and innovate. Please welcome Vanessa Hernandez Cruz.
Humanity. I choose to believe that there was a time like that we could be our truest form and joy was endless, where I can feel safe hablando español and find joy in my disabled body, where grief isn't so constant, where our dreams feel like hope, not a battlefield of oppression, where our identities aren't separated but intertwined in the reflections of the world, that we are celebrated and conversations aren't for educational purposes, where I don't have to pre-plan my entire day questioning, is it accessible to go here? What do I do if it's not safe to be brown? Who do I call for help? Can I speak Spanish here? Where our vulnerability isn't weaponized. Aunque el resto del mundo no nos quiere, nuestros ancestros nos siguen amándonos. Aunque ves nuestras facciones indígenas, todos somos de carne y huesos, aunque estén un poco chuecos, chuecos pero fuertes en alma y en espíritu. Aquí estaremos siempre.
still working? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay. Can I know round of applause for Vanessa, please? Yay. Thank you. So our next performer is Promise S. Freeman, a registered nurse and founder of Just a Mom, a movement supporting uterine families navigating autism and complex healthcare systems. Inspired by her son, Sincere, Promise's work is rooted in equity, faith, and the belief that informed advocacy can transform lives. Please welcome Promise.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Uh, Thanks, Michael, for that introduction. As Michael shared, my name is Promise Freeman. Today, I want to share what interdependence has looked like for my autistic son, Sincere, and myself. Not as a theory, but as a practice of survival, care, and hope. I wrote a poem to express our experience, and that's why I'll begin by sharing with you today, followed by a brief personal reflection on what inspired me to write it. Most people think survival is about strength, but no one tells you what it costs to survive in silence. For Sincere and me, interdependence is not a concept. It is survival. It's how we breathe when the weight is too heavy to carry alone. My son has emerging speech now, but most days words hover just beyond reach. Some days I feel steady, some days I feel strong, some days I feel like I can do this, and most days I feel like I cannot. People tell me, Promise, you're so strong. But strength without support becomes isolation. I need space to be fragile too. I need help. Sometimes I feel pressed. When I see other children moving faster than Sincere, talking sooner, hitting milestones sooner. And I have to fight the urge to measure his life by someone else's timeline. The pressure is real, but so is my faith. My faith reminds me his path is his own, and delay is not denial. And God's timing is not rushed, even when I am. I imagine a future shaped by silence, and I fight the thoughts I'm afraid to say out loud. Like, will Sincere be able to sign his name, open a credit card, drive a car, get married? Perception and safety. He's cute as a 5-year-old, but what happens when he's older? Will his silence be misunderstood? Will his presence be perceived as a threat? Will he be safe? Excuse me. Will he be safe in a world that polices Black and brown bodies and often overlooks disabled ones? This is where interdependence becomes power. Because power is not doing everything alone. Power is shared. It lives in collective care, therapists, educators, advocates, other parents and communities that refuse to let families fall through the cracks. Sincere has access to a lot of things: non-public school, therapeutic education. Many families are still waiting for that. That's why I created the Just a Mom movement, to share resources, checklists, and guidance, so access isn't just luck-based. Mothers call me from different states. I sit in autism parent groups. I share my story. Helping others helps me cope. Leaning on others does not make me weak. It makes me and Sincere visible. And when others lean on me, my fear transforms into strength. This is what justice space looks like. Voices centered, access assumed, difference honored, power shared, vulnerability safe, care collective. Where survival is not an individual burden, but a shared responsibility. Collective care is how we survive systems that delay services, question our children's worth, and measure success by independence, when our ancestors survived through connection. When your child is diagnosed, you enter survival mode, especially if you're already there. Vulnerability is not breaking, it is courage, it's asking for help, it's telling the truth in a world that prefers silence. My love for Sincere is radical. No one tells you what it's like to be told that you might be a forever caretaker. You grieve the child you thought you'd have, and then you begin again. You reset expectations. You adjust, you love deeper. Love is honoring Sincere exactly as he is, while fighting for the world he deserves. His voice matters even when it's emerging. This journey is teaching me how to make room for what feeds me and let go of what depletes me, because I need my energy for Sincere's world. Some days I feel okay, some days I feel like I can't do this, and I still show up, I still fight, and I still believe. That disability justice is racial justice, that power is shared, that care is collective, that children like Sincere are not just accommodated, but celebrated. That interdependence, that is collective care, that is justice, that is love in motion. So that was my poem. It's very dear to me, but I just wanted to give like a little backstory. And so these are the things that I'm really holding. So when I think about survival or talk about survival, I don't just mean like the basics. I'm thinking about what it means for Sincere to survive in the world long term. Not just being safe as a child, but being able to sign documents, navigate systems, and being taken seriously as he gets older. How often is silence met with patience in children? Often. But in adults, it's suspicion. Will they pause long enough to understand Sincere? Will they respond with care instead of fear? I pray for a world that is more educated, more patient, and more human. There is also grief in my journey, grief for the parent that I thought I would be. Not because I love Sincere any less, just because you have this idea of what it's going to be. But again, that's where interdependence comes real to me, because this was never meant to be a solo journey. It's a team effort. Everyone carries part of the load. The reality is pushing me to move forward. When I look up at Sincere, to me, like, that's my son. It's not a diagnosis. He laughs out loud. He loves movement. He keeps showing me new ways to see the world. There was a time that I was grieving. There was a time that I had a roadmap that I thought I needed. But now when I see Sincere, I don't see limitation. I see possibility. I see joy. I see a child who deserves a world. So I just wanted to bring up Sincere to say hi. I'm bringing him up just to let you guys know that we show up together, and that's what interdependence looks like. Say hi, Sincere. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame, for sharing your truth and sharing your story. Are you guys having a great time? Yeah, okay, we have more performance for you, everyone. Okay, so to our next performer, I want to introduce to you Maria Roach, a senior program manager at California Research Service for Independent Living. Maria brings nearly 2 decades of experience advocating disability justice, equity, access for older adults, and marginalized communities. Her work is grounding dignity and self-determination and community-based care, including her leadership supporting the place residents during the 2025 Eastern Fire. We welcome Maria Roach. Make peace and laughing all got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for the nice introduction. I really like it. I impressed myself. Thank you so much for being here. I feel very touched for all the stories that we are not alone. I'm not gonna say my name because Michael said. Michael, can you help me? Thank you. Yeah. Since we're getting old, I need glasses, I need light. Before, I don't need anything. I just do it straight. And I want to be straight to the point. I am original from Guatemala. And I moved to Los Angeles in search of new opportunities and a better future. In 2003, I survived a violent assault that left me with a T4 incomplete spinal cord injury, transforming my life. Through rehabilitation, I navigate strain and found healing in yoga. Later, become a certified yoga instructor. Today, as a program manager at California Resource Services for Independent Living, a disabled lead nonprofit, I oversee programs. And I say I'm gonna cry and look at me, really, like in front to everybody. And I'm like, and I told Mitchell staff, I'm not gonna cry, I'm get this. And look at me, but no, I'm not gonna cry now. I'm just gonna continue as this is part of the life, right? And I already go through, so this is a story. I oversee programs that oversee equity, access, and self-determination for people with disabilities. Beyond titles, I am a Latina woman with disability, identities that shape how I see and how I be found to be here. Growing up and navigating professional spaces, conversations about race were often avoided. But for me, race and disability are inseparable. As a Latina with a disability, learning early that opportunity isn't equal. White people with disabilities often had greater access, resources, and trust places in them. While cultural expectation in my own community added another layer, like assumption that because I am Latina, I should fit a certain role, right? This role is sometimes as a person as having 5 kids. These overlapping identities shaping how others saw me and how I saw myself. Both race and disability came with stereotypes, and for a long time, I carried those assumptions too. Who gets to decide what normal is? My steps may look different, but the destination is the same. I work, I lead teams, I serve during the emergencies, I build systems. Disability doesn't mean incapability. It means adaptability. And if we change our definition of normal, we open doors instead of guarding them. During the 2025 Eaton fire, theory became a reality. For a month, I worked up to 14 hours days, 7 days a week at the Pasadena Convention Center. Disabled and aging people had lost everything: wheelchairs, hearing devices, medications, and stability. I worked alongside the Red Cross, FAST, and FEMA teams, replacing assistive technology and connecting people to life-sustaining services. That experience proved me something important. People with disabilities aren't just recipients of care. We are leaders in crisis. One thing that constantly changes outcomes is language access. When people can understand the system because it doesn't speak the language or reflect their culture, the system fails them. Equity isn't just about services. It's about communication, trust, and meeting people where they are, honoring both language and identity. Outside of work, I am caregiver for my older mother, who migrated from Guatemala and is the center of my world. Many people often overlook that caregiver is a mutual experience. I care for her, and she cares for me. Disability doesn't erase contribution, love, culture, and resilience flow both ways. I once believed disability was a limitation. Now I know it is the system that are when we open doors instead of judging. When we redefine what's normal, and when we believe in people, especially those at the margins, well, I'll move forward. We'll move forward. People with disability are capable of anything. Sometimes we take a different path to get there, but we get there. Maybe take some time, but we get there. And I want to take you with this very important, you leaders there, if you can make changes, when policy, listeners to live experience, equity become a possible. As the community put in these places that when the people know what the community needs. If policy is serious about independency and dignity, then it must be designed with the people most impacted. Thank you, Mitchell. I hope all the supervisors follow you. Please. Thank you.
Yeah, good work. I see you, girl. Good job. I see you. Good job. Yeah. Okay, wasn't that great? I was inspired. Okay. I'm getting used to the microphone, getting easier now. Okay. Okay, so our next performer I want to introduce to you, Faith Anderson, an autism advocate, performer, and creative force. Faith is a member of Dr. Ashley Whitey, a participant in the Miracle Project that leads and the lead female singer to the band Dragon Knight, and a voice actress, puppeteer, and a impressionist. She shares her talent to bring joy, comedy, and connection to the world. Please welcome Faith Anderson!
I'm so happy to see all of you. Yeah. How are you all doing? That makes Emma very happy. Yeah. Emma thinks that music is a great way to tell a story. Oh, and bring people together too. Oh, hi, Miss Anderson!
Hi, Emma. How are you?
It's the real deal now. I was a little nervous, but almost good.
Good. Faye, I want to tell you how proud I am of you and how much I admire your courage and how much I admire your strength, baby.
Thank you. By the way, my mom is going to help me tell the rest of my story.
Like many Black children and many girls, Faith received a late diagnosis of autism. You may not know, but some females are adults when they receive a diagnosis. Faith was 9 years old. But that diagnosis, it didn't stop her. It didn't stop her determination to make friends, to attend her dream high school, and let me get it right, Hamilton High School Academy of Music and Performing Arts, where she graduated with honors. Her journey is not easy, but God sent and he continues to send amazing people and organizations that support her, right, Faith?
This has been bugging me all day. So before I sing, I want to thank some of the people who helped me on my journey. Dr. Ashley Wiley Johnson, the Miracle Project, Dr. Ifu, I see you, Miss Lydia, and my family. He's gonna go away now. I'm gonna be singing Rise Up by Andra Day. Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. When you can find the fighter, but it's seen in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like waves, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. Silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying. Promise we'll get the world to its feet and move mountains. Bring it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, all we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. Yeah. We'll rise, and we'll rise up. We'll rise, I'll rise up. I like the waves, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I
Okay. Can we have another round of applause for Faith? She's only 15 years old. You little baby, yeah, Faith, only 15 years old. That's amazing. The only trick I can do, I'm a deaf guy talking. That's the only trick. But okay. So next performer, last but not least, understand it took me 3 weeks to learn how to pronounce her name. Really, because I'm deaf as heck. It took me 3 weeks to pronounce her name. So be patient with me. I'm going to say I'm going to get it right. So our next performer is led by Dr. Ifunanya Naeki. Yes, yes. An award-nominated power engineer and founder of the Jazz Hands for Autism. Dr. Niaki works on the intersection of entertainment, education, workforce development, and disability advocacy, creating a real pathway to create creative opportunities for musicians and nationwide. Please welcome Dr. New Iwaki and the Musical Jazz Hands for Autism. Yeah!
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Could I get some tissue, please? Any tissue? Please and thank you. I always say that if I cry, don't be alarmed. That's like my natural way of being is just is crying. I just want us to give. Thank you so much. A round of applause to all the performers here today. And I'm gonna do my best to get through this without getting too choked up. Faith, that was really awesome. You had me over here crying, girl. I was crying, okay? And Bowen, great job opening up. And then later on, you guys are gonna see my home girl, but I'll introduce her later. And also, once again, a great job to all the performers. I do wanna thank Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell. This event is so important, and just echoing all the performers that have come before me. Thank you for making space for the voices of individuals who are neurodivergent, who are disabled, and who live at the intersection of disability and racial justice. So thank you for making this space. And like Maria mentioned, I hope that all the other county supervisors follow your lead. Okay, so thank you also for Michael for the introduction. I want to first start out by telling you all about the origins of Jazz Hands. You all have heard what Michael said, but in a nutshell, we're based here in Culver City. I'm very nervous, so sorry. We're based just down the street, just like not even a block away. And our whole goal is to make the entertainment industry more accessible to neurodivergent voices. And Culver City is the perfect home for us because Culver City is the heart of Screenland. And so with Amazon Studios and Sony and Riot Games and TikTok, this is the perfect city to do the work that Jazz Hands for Autism does. And we've been doing for 12 years. We've been in Culver City since 2018. So how many years is that? Many. Because I can't do the math that quickly. But before there was Jazz Hands for Autism, before the programs, before the stages that we provide, because we host 2 concerts a year. I'll give you an invitation to our next one in May. Before our educational training program, down the street, before we started providing music education to neurodivergent musicians, before my research, for my doctoral program, there was my younger brother, Dubem. My younger brother is a Black immigrant, was once a boy, now a man, who spent his first 14 years of school struggling. He had poor grades. He was bullied daily. And he felt a constant sense of not belonging. So I, being big sister, I became his fierce advocate. So I will step in to support him socially. And I will say that I'm very proud to have fought some kids on behalf of my brother, and I will do it again. You know what I'm saying? I will. You know what I'm saying? I know this is being recorded live, so anybody who's trying to fight my brother, I will fight you. Okay? But then came high school. So that was elementary school, that was middle school. And then in high school, my brother found robotics, right? And for the first time, something clicked. He found his passion. He found his people. He found joy. And when the environment changed, he didn't have to change. He thrived, and today he's married. He's a computer engineer. He lives in Georgia, and he has a full life. So I carried that story with me for many years until 2021, when my brother told me that he's autistic and that he had been diagnosed with ADHD. And suddenly everything made sense, because for many years, people would ask me, why autism? Why autism? And I'm just like, I don't know, I like it. Like this is the community that I want to work with. My start in the autism community came when I volunteered for a program. I went to UCLA, and it was ECPHP, and I walked in, I was like, this is it, this is home. And I couldn't explain why for so many years, why that felt like home, until my brother told me that he was autistic. So it was like the biggest full circle moment. And this was only like 5 years ago. I was like, so for Jazz Hands has been around for 12 years. So at that point, it had been 8 years since I had been, working in the autism community. I didn't really know why, but I knew that this is what I wanted to do, And so once again, once my brother told me he was autistic, everything made sense. And then I was thinking back on his story, and what I thought was resilience was actually him surviving. And what changed his life wasn't fixing him. It was him finding a place where he belonged. As an anthropologist, I don't know if y'all know, I have 3 degrees. I'm proud of all of them. My first one is in anthropology. My second one is in nonprofit leadership and management, and my terminal degree is in education. So as an anthropologist, working at the intersection of disability, justice, and education, I kept seeing this same pattern repeat itself. Traditional school systems, and I've been to so many schools. So up until I was in high school, I had gone to 8 different schools in 3 different countries. So I've been to schools in New York, I've been to schools in England, I've been to schools in Nigeria, I've been to schools in Los Angeles. So I've seen the way that different school systems operate, right? And how they either meet or do not meet the needs of their students, right? And so traditional school systems often punish difference through exclusion and labels. But when neurodivergent young people, especially Black and brown youth, discover a creative passion and an outlet and find community, their trajectory shifts. They don't change, the context does. During my doctoral research, I learned that music is pattern sound, and that many autistic individuals often thrive in a patterned environment, in patterned fields. When I interviewed parents of color, nearly everyone shared that music wasn't just an entertainment in their home. It was a tool for regulation, a language of joy, and a way to stay connected. And then also, because my story is not straightforward, so I'm going to be jumping up a little bit around. In 2014, right before Jazz Hands was started, I was being trained to be a behavior interventionist. And then at that time, I met a young man named Ruben. And while working with him, that is when I realized the impact of music, and that forever changed my trajectory that led me to my second degree and my terminal degree. So if you're following, raise your hand. Okay, so I'll explain, right? So in 2012, I volunteered at a program for children with autism. That's where I got my start in the autism community. Then in 2014, I met Ruben. Then in 2021, my brother revealed to me that he was autistic, right? So you guys with me? Okay, so going back to Ruben, right? Ruben went from, the day that I met Ruben, I was shadowing his behavior interventionist, trying to learn how to be a behavior interventionist after I had decided that this is the community that I want to work with, right? And so Ruben, the day that I met him, he was mainstreamed, right? So he was the only person with autism in his classroom, and that's what mainstream means. And in most of his classes, he was in the class, but not of the class, if you get what I'm saying. He was in the corner, managing his behaviors and trying to learn while his other classmates were in another area, right? Except when he got to music class. And that day they had a sub. So it means that Ruben could do whatever he wants on the instruments, and he did. So Ruben gets on the piano and he begins playing a song. And I was like, wow, this guy can sing, And then, so I'm talking to his behavior interventions and asking, oh, how long has Ruben known that, been learning this song? And then he revealed to me, oh, Ruben heard it for the first time 3 days ago. I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. you know. And then while I was processing this information, Ruben's other classmates who were neurotypical, one person gets on the drums, another person gets on the bass, another person gets on different instruments, and then they were accompanying him in that setting. And so what I saw in that moment was that when you give a person a chance to show you what they can do, not only can they communicate with their peers, but they can lead a setting. And that was a foundation of what built Jazz Hands for Autism, right? And so Ruben went from 1 in 3 musicians at the first Jazz Hands concert. Now we have 20 musicians at our concert, and we have over 200 people in our audience most of the time. And you guys will help us get there, get to 300. You know? And then since then, Jazz Hands for Autism has grown to, like I said, produce over 20 concerts, provide accessible music education via our Junior Academy and our Musicians Academy, and help musicians of the autism spectrum make over $50,000 through our Jazz Hands Jobs program. Jazz Hands was built to do what robotics did for my brother, create a space for neurodivergent individuals to leverage creativity, build community, and reclaim joy. Since then, Jazz Hands, we've served over 1,000 individuals, families, and community members through our educational program, our training programs, and our outreach programs. And we are creating stages where neurodivergent musicians are not seen as issues or problems or are not excluded, but are centered, and their voices are privileged in that setting, right? They are seen as artists to be celebrated, and and Jazz Hands, we're just getting started. But now I want to tell you about my homegirl. My homegirl, Brandy. Brandy, you want to wave? You want to say hello? So, Brandy graduated high school and was attending a career transition center when her aunt saw a Jazz Hands performer at a resource fair. Her aunt, shout out to Lori, told her mom, shout out to Pam, hey Pam, and then Brandy became enrolled at Jazz Hands. And today, Brandy has taught music in schools and community spaces, and community spaces that serve individuals who also have developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities at Special Needs Network. Hey, Special Needs Network. And Brandy also performs across Southern California. She's performed in LA County, in the Orange County. Hey, girl. Okay. And Brandy is also our band manager for one of our student bands. Brandy found her passion, she found her people at Jazz Hands, and she found her power. What my research, my lived experience, my work experience confirms is that when we allow individuals who are on the autism spectrum and who are neurodivergent to take center stage, we begin to see possibility where we may once have seen limitations, because the ableist world around individuals who are neurodivergent is what causes the barriers, not the individuals. So it's up to us to change the context that individuals with disabilities, individuals who are neurodivergent experience, and thus they can thrive. So, hold on, let me calm down. And then when our perception shifts, futures open up. But here's a really important lesson that I've learned. The magic isn't just in the music or in the arts, which I think is really important, and talk to me later to tell you more about the research behind that. But it's in the advocates, it's in the supporters, and it's in the educators. My brother had a teacher that made space for him. Ruben had advocates and teachers who saw his potential. Brandy has instructors at Jazz Hands who recognize her both as a student and as a leader. Without educators who are trained to create affirming, accessible environments, transformation doesn't happen. And so this is why Jazz Hands for Autism, we're committing to training educators across LA County, at least 700 educators by the end of next year, in neurodiversity affirming music education. Because every neurodivergent child, every Black child, every brown child who's been told that they're too much or not enough deserves what my brother found, what Ruben found, and what Brandy has found: their passion, their people, their joy, and their place in this world. You all may not know, but I'm Igbo, I'm Nigerian, and in my heritage, my Igbo heritage, there's a phrase called Odimma. Odimma means all is well. And when we create space for neurodivergent creatives to find their stage and claim their voice, all is truly well. Now I'd like to introduce my homegirl and bring her to the stage, Brandy.
Is this on? Oh. Hello, everybody. Wait. I need to do this. Oh, hi, everybody. Much better. Like Ifu says, I know I used my catchphrase at the concert. My name is Brandy, and I'm gonna be playing a song that this is my first time performing this song. It fits with Ifu's speech that is so beautiful, and it really touched my heart. But I don't want to cry up here, so because my mommy's right there. Yeah. So it's an R&B artist, and it's actually one of my favorites, and I know this is her favorite. This is Hero by Mariah Carey, and it fits with the theme of triumph, and now I'm going to perform Hero for you guys. Hope you guys like it. Oh. There's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, and that a hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone. No one reaches out a hand for you to hold. You can find love if we search within yourself, and the emptiness you found will disappear. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. Lord knows dreams are hard to follow, but don't let anyone tear them away. Just Thank you.
Thank you again to Dr. Eve Naki and her homegirl. I thought I was gonna play some jazz, not for me, for you guys, because I can't hear. So, but anyway, thank you for all performing today. And let me switch to Q&A. I'm gonna switch it off.
Thank you, everyone. Like Michael said, we're just going to allow a few minutes to switch the stage to questions and answer portion. For those of you who have questions for our performers, please write them on your cards now. When you are finished writing your questions for our performers, please go ahead and raise your card up so our team can go around and collect them. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Aaliyah Sanford. I am a constituent engagement deputy for Supervisor Mitchell's office. So yeah, just allow us a few seconds of your time. Thank you so much. One of your note cards, please lift it up so that our team can come around and collect them for the question and answer portion of our schedule. Thank you.
As we gather the questions from the audience, I'd like to just start off with our wonderful performers tonight. Probably just going to pass the microphone down one by one, but I'm curious, from the stage, each of you up here, what has inspired you so far tonight, right? I'm sure you came in with something on your heart. I know we all felt it as an audience. What else did you walk away with tonight? Michael, would you like to start us out? Oh, wonderful.
Why did Doug gotta go first? But
You're closest to me.
For me, what inspired me was the opportunity to share our stories, to share our experiences, to make people see different sides of disability, because it's not just, one thing, it's a spectrum of different disabilities. And, we can make changes if given the opportunity. And that's what inspires me. And also, we need to do that lunch thing with Harley next time to lunch eat, yeah.
And then Faith, maybe just what inspired you this evening? Vanessa?
Hello. Hi, everyone. What was the question again?
The question,
So much.
the question, Vanessa, and if I may, just loved your performance. I was with you every step of the way, sister. I got to talk to you later about what the deeper meaning was there. So powerful. But you came in obviously with a lot on your heart. How are you walking away more inspired this evening?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of powerful, amazing people that I'm surrounded with. I feel like I'm excited
about our journey of creating more equitable spaces. As someone who's also doing that kind of work, I don't feel alone. I feel really, really inspired today. Everyone has something to offer, and I feel like change, no matter how small, is important and needed, especially now in our current situation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, end thought.
Thank you, thank you. Just pass it on down to Promise, our resident poet. Such a powerful poem. Promise, such an adorable younger son. We got to see it look like your older son that brought him out. Beautiful family. What's inspired you this evening?
So when I was finished just like walking through and have people like stop me, you know, and tell me like their child was nonverbal and now they're 13, 14 and speaking, you know, so that really inspired me, you know, outside of like the performances, but just bumping into people and stopping me in my tracks. Like it just gave like, you know, like more confirmation and eased like some of that underlining anxiety.
You could say that again. You could say that again. Dr. Nweke. Yes, I nailed it.
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you, Michael. You got us all on that. Talk to us a little bit, right? Because jazz hands and I mean, to think of everyone on the stage, your story spoke the most to being inspired by those around you. So what was that like here tonight?
I've been crying all day, you know, crying all evening. And it's just been really wonderful to see expression. I think, you know, for me, art is like everything, you know, and I think that, you know, it's just been beautiful to see everyone express themselves in their most authentic way, you know. And so I'm very grateful for you all sharing your heart with us today, actually, literally sharing your heart through your art. And so that for me is what's most inspiring today, is just the authenticity and the heart that has been brought forward through everybody's performances.
No, that's actually wonderful. I mean, you talk about heart, and even right now my heart is beating as I think back to Maria, right? Bienvenidos de Guatemala, right? Well, welcome from Guatemala. I like that. Maria, as the microphone makes it back down to you, you shared such a personal story. I think the audience will really appreciate, again, just hearing what you've taken away from this evening.
I'm grateful that I can see the changes after 22 years. I can speak, I can be here, and the dignity in Holly Mitchell is doing it is amazing. And the support I have from her staff is amazing. I learned how to be presenting and be here in the kind ways. And I hope we can have that more often and not choose the same person all over. I'm inspired since I received the call and share my story, because I want to advocate for all community, older adults and people with disability, because everybody gonna become disabled. And I wanna leave something when I die though. And I wanna go heaven, but this is my goal.
Amen to, I think we all want to go to heaven, right? Amen to that. Amen to that. And I think second to heaven is something you said is called legacy, right? We all want to leave something behind, and you all in your stories have left this audience with something tonight. In fact, they've written them on these cards. So I'm going to pose a few questions. If it speaks to you, I want to invite you to just own that microphone and really share your truth a little bit more with us tonight. That okay?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, wonderful. Well, in honor of Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell, first question is a political question, so prepare yourselves. Ladies and sir, what politics would you like to see to help public education be more inclusive and supportive?
Okay, you first and second.
This is a hill that I live on and will live on and forever. And that is the importance of training educators. And I think that there needs to be a policy. it's one thing, goodwill is important. You know, it's one thing to like want to do good, but it's another thing to actually enact it into policy. And I think that it needs to be policy that teachers and educators need to be trained to work with all kinds of students, right? To know how to include all kinds of students in their classroom, especially in the arts classroom, which, like I mentioned earlier, the arts are really, really important, especially for individuals who are neurodivergent. So I would say that what I would like to see as it relates to policy is a requirement for all educators to be trained in neurodiversity affirming practices.
That's definitely a policy. I love that. Anyone else like to weigh in on this? Michael?
I actually have a good policy. Actually, Supervisor Mitchell actually helped it pass it 2 months ago, focusing on closed captioning. And we worked on this for about 2 years, but because of Supervisor Mitchell and her team and me working with them, we passed a closed captioning ordinance. So it goes into effect this year. So I'm excited about that. That's called policy work. And it takes time. It's not easy, but it takes time. And I'm very excited about that because we actually have a law in the system that says you have to have captioning in public places. It's very new. And Supervisor Mitchell made that freaking happen. So I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. So that's why I want to share that.
I'm fired up, man. Let's go. Put me in the booth right now, right? Maria, what do you think?
I really agree with what the doctors say, but before training, explain the teacher, the educators, why they have to go through with those training. Because if they know what is behind, they find a purpose, not only like another policy in the book. Say the stories, why this change is coming. And that's it, but education is the key.
Education is the key. I want to give the audience a chance. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off there?
No, sorry, and policies.
And policies, education and policies. I want to give the audience one more question here before we wrap up the evening. And I think it'd be really special maybe if each of you could try and answer this in, just a few words, right? Just a few words. We're talking about policy. What would it look like to move from moments like today into sustainable action? Think about that. What would it look like to move from a moment like tonight into sustainable action? And I think maybe we can start in the middle. Vanessa, would you like to start us off? Do you have any thoughts about this?
Sure. Hi. Yeah, I think as a disability justice consultant, oftentimes a lot of the trainings tend to be one-off and the changes aren't always implemented. And I think a huge takeaway, and that I hope that folks who are in position of power to continue to do this work, uplift these organizations and artists. I kind of want to add a little bit onto the previous question about policy. While I'm not versed in policy, but I do think one of the things I do remember growing up is that there was lack of accessible school buses for after-school programs. And I don't know if that's still the case, and I hope it's not. But if it is, I hope that's something that changes. Additionally, I hope that with that kind of training of having teachers and professionals work with different disabilities, that they take whatever arts you're teaching seriously as a potential career versus recreational. Because that's something that could be very supportive for students with disabilities who want to enter the arts as a professional versus just recreational practices. And thought.
Thank you, Vanessa. Promise, any thoughts? What does sustainable action look like?
I think for me, I would say more like availability. I think like when I was saying in my home about how like Sincere, he has like every service you can think of. He has access to everything, and he's very blessed. But just the way like the system is, there's so many people on waiting lists. There's like, I get calls from moms, people on waiting lists for 1-2 years. Like it shouldn't even be like that, And I wish that more resources were available, to put into play more advocacy available, more events like this over and over and over again because this community matters and like we're out there, and like always like overlooked.
Question. 100%. Yeah, that answered the question. Yes, ma'am. Do we? Is it coming to Faith?
Hi.
Hi.
I may not be a teacher at all, but I know for a fact from being with Dr. Wiley Johnson, the Miracle Project, even Jazz Hands, that the arts is the entertainment industry is not nice. And they don't really, they don't get to. It's a really hard question. They don't get to like when I had Elmo and my mom up here, for example, that was not easy. I was born literally entertaining my family, and I feel like they should add more people like me to like make somebody laugh, or like it's a really hard question. I don't know how to answer it.
You're doing wonderful, I think. I think we'd all agree.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if I could take a picture with you afterwards. I know you probably get that all the time.
Absolutely.
I love it. Look at you. Good job. I need to hang out with you after. The matter I think of this event is maybe we can have people matter when they make those policies in those meetings. People, the real people that is having this life with different abilities, and instead of have people that they don't know what is to be outside. I understand. You get it? What I say? I have to.
Please continue.
Yeah. And instead of have, I see so many years the same people sitting in the chairs in the same position, doing anything, reelected, because only those people is the community. They are the communities. It's so many commissioners. I see it. I'm gonna see, I'm sorry, but open space and I'm gonna be open. So many commissioners, I don't know, maybe 200 commissioners that I can have the top of my head, maybe 2 or 3, what they do. They are serving people outside in the community, or they stay in the same seat for years. They older, they don't know what's going on outside because I know they have disability, I know that, but they don't serve people outside. They don't see what they are struggling, and they stay in the seat. Who oversees the commissions? It's people taking time and see how long you serve, What are you doing outside? I'm not one that people see me because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm gonna choose you. No, I want be representing the people matter and make the voices for them. To have the power just to have the title is not gonna serve. So if all the people that choose the commissioners oversee what you bring to the table, if you bring to the table what you bring in for 5 years is the same, we need to replace it. More people is coming now here. We're getting old. What is the new generation? We don't want a president to have 90 years old. I'm sorry. I mean, I love it, but I love my mom. She's 87, but I'll be honest with you, I don't want she make decisions when it's not gonna matter her because she can die in 10 years, right? And me too. I don't have kids, but I wanna have a legacy because more people with disabilities is gonna burn, right? So what happened with them? If it's hard for us, we have to make it easy for them, for the new generation. So I hope the commissioners, they bring something to the table because all the leaders listen to the commissioners. I don't want to see title, I am. No, we're here for people and we can do everything together. And that's just change your mind and switch for new generations. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Amen to that. People are our purpose. Yes, of course. Please, Michael.
Tyler, just one more thing. Many people in the audience work for the county. So I know you've seen all this, and I'm hoping that you are inspired, you are challenged to do great things for people with disabilities. I see your website, I know where you work. So I'm hoping we can find your passion to do great things together. So have a great day. Thank you for being here.
Wonderful, wonderful. A round of applause for Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell. A round of applause for her wonderful team that supported us through all this. And again, a round of applause for our wonderful presenters, Dr. Nweke. We've got, who's that hiding down there on there? And we've got Promise, we've got Vanessa, we've got Faith, we've got Maria, and you all know Michael very well. I'm Jamal Hill, and I'm passing it over.
Thank you so much. Can I get another round of applause for everybody here? Woo! All right, I'm going to introduce Supervisor Holly Mitchell. She wants to say a few words, so round of applause for her.
Was that an extraordinary racial justice learning exchange or what? You all were extraordinary. Thank you, thank you. There was a good number of people who raised their hand that you said this was your first RJLE. I really hope it won't be your last, because I have to say, we're going on 5 years now. We've had 60 events. My staff pulls this together once a month. There's no one person on staff that RGLA is their jobs. They have other jobs. They work as a team to pull this together. The agreements you saw at the beginning, those are agreements that we subscribe to also as Team Mitchell in the work that we do every day. And so we've had over 4,000 people per year who've had this experience. So I really hope it won't be your last, because all of us need advocates and we all need allies. And it's coming together in safe spaces like this, pausing, acknowledging those agreements, and being open to learning new things that's going to make LA County the kind of county we all want to grow old in with dignity. So let me just give you my brief, what I heard, my takeaways today. First of all, let me thank Justin, the John Poole, who was the brilliant mind behind the Vindy Museum. He was homesick today. I sent him pictures of all you all. I'm like, the theater is full, it's amazing. So thank you, Justin, for creating this space for us. What I heard today is, who decides what normal is? Power must be shared. I will not measure Sincere's life against someone else's progress. People with disabilities are leaders during crisis. we will rise up 1,000 times again. The ableist world causes the barriers. And again, all of us need to be allies and advocates. And from my perspective, we all need training, not just educators. Employers need training. All of us, just in terms of how we move through the world, to be an advocate, to be an ally, to be a decent neighbor, to be a good colleague and coworker. So I want to thank all of the county department heads who are here today. You got that right, Michael. This is powerful people in this room who have the power to make decisions on behalf of all 10 million LA County residents. Do you promise you'll come back to another RGLE in the future? I hope that you will, because in times like this, all we can do is create community amongst each other. And if we come together and if we hold on, I believe we will survive the times we are experiencing. So if you come back and you meet new people, we'll get stronger together. It's wonderful to see you all, and thank you for coming to this month's Racial Justice Learning Exchange. Thank you, Team Mitchell. You all are the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Mitchell. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessalyn Waldron. Just really quick, we're just going to thank our MCs, and then we're out of here. It's going to take 2 minutes. Looks like we're going to take photos, but on behalf of LA County, we do have special commendations for Jamal and Michael with some swag bags. These folks put in a lot of time with our team with this event, a lot of emails, a lot of calls, rehearsals, texts. This was a lot of hard work from everybody. So thank you all so much for dedicating your time and your hearts to this event. Thank you all. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks so much. Can you point? Yeah, thanks to Belize. Belize, I don't know where you went, but she has been amazing. We thank you too. And Jesse. Also, please continue to enjoy our resources and connect with community outside if you have a little time to stick around.